My name is Namrata Khanna and I'm the director at India Honey Alliance, known as IHA. So India has a very strong legacy of eating honey. It's a part of our tradition. Every household uses honey. Right from the time a child is born, we put a little drop of honey in its mouth. Someone passes away, a drop of honey is put. In spite of all of this, unfortunately, honey is only being used as medicinal value. We are not using it as table honey. Bread and butter is used in practically every household. We traditionally have been using curd or yogurt as a part of our meal. We use butter, we use malai, we use achar, we use chutneys. But do we use honey as a part of our dessert? No, we don't. But actually, that is what needs to be done because it's a digestive, it's got health properties, and frankly, the different varieties of honey that we get in India, the flavors are absolutely awesome. Whether we talk of the lychee honey or the tulsi honey or the eucalyptus honey, mustard honey particularly, the entire mustard honey is being exported out, which is a shame because in India, mustard abounds in places like Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan. We have a huge crop of mustard. And why should mustard honey not be consumed in India also? Because the bulk of production in India is mustard honey. So part of our tradition is that. But the awareness and the push from the government also needs to be there to make sure that it literally reaches every household. And per capita consumption has to increase. In foreign countries, you have consumption of something like 4 kilos, ranging from 250 grams per capita to 4 kilos per capita. In India, it can be as low as 4 grams to 6 grams, which is really practically nothing, or even 50 grams. That's really nothing. So if we increase the production, it's going to go in a very big way, helping the beekeepers, helping the government, and not to mention the benefits it's going to have for the agriculture. So Shahid, as far as the challenges in the honey market is concerned, I would like to start from beekeeping. Beekeeping is a very big challenge in terms of their training and development, scientific beekeeping, subsidies for them, also making sure that the government must support all of their requirements in terms of health benefits for them, education for their children, to make beekeeping a really viable profession for the beekeepers so that they should not think of going elsewhere and stick to this. Because beekeeping is not just important for honey or for the other products, they are the biggest pollinators in the world. They increase agricultural produce by anything between 10 to 40%, and this is a recorded information. So for that aspect also, beekeeping is a very, very critical area of agriculture today. And that's one of the largest challenges. The other challenges when you come to the market is the quality of honey. There are lots of challenges on how do you maintain the quality of honey, especially with lack of scientific beekeeping. Then when we move on to other areas, it is a lack of awareness for consumers. There is a lack of data which is not available in the market. There is no proper study which has been done on Indian honey. We have at least 50 varieties of Indian honey in India, but there is no end-to-end study because each of those honeys is unique. If I take an example of Manuka honey, which you've all heard about, there is a huge study which has been conducted on that, on every aspect. Whereas something similar needs to be done for India so that we have specific studies with specific honeys to talk of their properties, benefits, various ways of how they are dealt with, and their requirement for each and every kind of medicines that are being used in Ayurveda, Unani, and various Indian traditional systems. We use it all the time. But all of this knowledge, unfortunately, is losing its way somewhere. And that's a huge one. Also, the data for not just honey, but also for beekeepers and for other stuff is not available, whether it is beekeepers or how much honey is being produced, or how many hives are there. Government is also struggling with this data. With the result, policies don't get made adequately. All of these factors make a big difference. So these are really big challenges as of now. Okay, that's an interesting question. IHA came into being in January 21. That was COVID time. It took us a long time to get the societies registered. It is registered under the Societies Act as an NGO, as a non-profit, not-for-profit organization. We started with about 7 members, which representing the largest brands to the smallest areas. We have brands like Dabur, Patanjali, Hamdard, Baidyanath, Lion Honey, Bridge Honey, So we basically cover the entire plethora, and every link in the honey value chain has been represented on the platform now. So we've grown to about 18, 19 members now. And I think our biggest mission has become, or vision I would say, is actually to make Indian honey the only choice. So keeping that in mind, we work very closely with the government. We are constantly liaising with them, talking to them about the standards, reaching out with all our members and saying these are the issues, because real-time issues what the government is facing, or even the people are facing, or any of our players are facing, is all information which is fed back into the government, saying we need to work together collaboratively with the scientific world, with the government, with the beekeepers, and biggest with the consumers together to make sure that the myths are busted, there's enough data, there is enough study, and to make sure that honey actually gets the pride of place that it deserves, or place of pride that it deserves in the international market. So one of the big areas for honey and beekeeping industry in India has to be a confluence of science and the industry. Both of them cannot exist without the other. So science has to be used as a basis for consumer awareness, data collection, making standards, or whatever may be required to make the honey industry very robust. So for that, what we did was, when we realized this, that science has to be the bedrock, we created something called the Scientific Advisory Board, which we've got the 7 top scientists of India who are part of an independent board who talk about and discuss matters relating with honey, whether it is standards or whether it is rise in HMF, or it is talking of good beekeeping scientific practices, or even creating a study on some of the aspects of honey, to be able to present that to the government and saying these are the findings that we've got. The other thing is that we've also we've written an MOU. We have gotten to an MOU of 5 years with NIFTM, which is actually an institute of national importance, so that we will be doing a lot of training and development work, creating study plans for the government, and we have started working with the government very closely so that proper programs can be created, not just for training and development, but even creating a study for whatever scientific requirement is there. Consumer awareness has to be done based again on science, because a lot of myths are spreading all over regarding honey.